The impossible response, the Zephyrin mining station. Celestial harvest drifted through the asteroid belt of System K447, its crystalline hull reflecting starlight like a jewel suspended in darkness. Commander Vilex pressed her three-fingered hand against the command console, watching as another Allied ship signature vanished from her display. The evacuation vessels had jumped to safety, leaving her station defenseless against the approaching storm. The Devourers were coming. Everyone in the Outer Rim knew what that meant. They swept through systems like a plague, stripping resources and enslaving populations. No mercy, no negotiation, just systematic consumption of everything in their path. Vilex's feathered crest flattened against her skull as she counted the approaching signatures. 37 warships, each one bristling with weapons designed for one purpose: complete domination. She opened another emergency channel, broadcasting on all frequencies. This is Celestial Harvest Station to any vessels in range. We have 8,000 civilians aboard, including 2,000 younglings. The Devourer fleet will arrive in 90 minutes. Please, anyone who receives this message, we need immediate assistance. The universal translator converted her melodic voice into dozens of languages, but silence answered back. Her second-in-command, Thymon, approached with slow steps. His scaled skin had taken on the pale blue of despair. Commander, the last transport has jumped. We are alone. The Corthan fleet, the Meridian Alliance, even the warrior clans of Voss have withdrawn. They know better than to face the Devourers with anything less than overwhelming force. Vilex understood their logic. The Devourers had conquered 43 systems in the last solar rotation. Fighting them with insufficient numbers meant certain death, but understanding did not make abandonment easier to accept. 8,000 souls would pay the price for that logic. Then something unexpected happened. A transmission cut through the static, clear and strong despite the distance. The voice that came through sounded strange to Vilex's auditory organs, full of hard consonants and determined inflection. Celestial Harvest, this is Captain Maria Santos of the Earth vessel Phoenix Rising. We received your distress signal. Hold your position. We are coming. Thymon pulled up the ship registry on his display, his four eyes widening in confusion. Earth? The database says they only achieved faster-than-light travel 3 cycles ago. They are listed as a Class 9 Deathworld species. Their vessel is... Commander, it appears to be a cargo hauler, not a warship. Vilex felt her heart sink. 1 cargo vessel against 37 warships. These humans either possessed courage beyond measure or ignorance beyond comprehension. Captain Santos, we appreciate your willingness to help. But you must understand the situation. The Devourer fleet consists of military vessels with advanced weaponry. Your cargo ship cannot possibly make a difference. Please preserve your crew and leave this sector. A pause followed, filled with muffled voices speaking in the harsh human language. Then Captain Santos returned, and something in her tone had changed. It carried weight now, like mountains settling into place. Commander Vilex, I need you to listen carefully. My ship may be alone right now, but we are not going to abandon 8,000 innocent people. Phoenix Rising will reach your position in 45 minutes. When we arrive, I need you to deploy all mining equipment to these coordinates I'm sending. Can you do that? Vilex examined the coordinates. They formed a pattern around the station, utilizing the asteroid field in ways she did not understand. But something in the human's voice, that absolute certainty, made her respond. We will follow your instructions, Captain, but I do not understand what one ship can accomplish. You are about to learn why the galaxy calls Earth a death world, Commander, and why we survived it. The Phoenix Rising dropped out of hyperspace exactly when promised, positioning itself between the station and the incoming Devourer fleet. Vilex studied the human vessel on her scanner. It was indeed a cargo hauler, its hull scarred from countless journeys through dangerous space. No visible weapon systems, no military-grade shields, just a stubborn chunk of metal piloted by beings from a world that spawned nightmares. Captain Santos opened a channel to the station. Commander, have your mining crews positioned the equipment as requested? Yes, but I still do not understand the purpose. The mining lasers and gravitational collectors are not weapons. Everything is a weapon if you are creative enough. That is lesson number 1 from Earth. Now I need you to trust me. When I give the signal, activate all mining lasers simultaneously and target these specific points in the asteroid field. The Devourer fleet dropped from hyperspace in perfect formation, their ships dark and angular like fragments of night-given form. Their leader, Sovereign Cracks, broadcast on all frequencies. His voice sounded like grinding metal through the translator. Pathetic station. You will surrender immediately. Your resources and population now belong to the Devourer Collective. Resistance will result in painful termination. Before Vilex could respond, Captain Santos interrupted the transmission. Devourer Fleet, this is Captain Maria Santos of Earth. You will withdraw from this system immediately. This station and its people are under our protection. Laughter erupted from the Devourer channel, a sound like breaking glass. One small cargo vessel dares to challenge us. Your species must be even more primitive than our scouts reported. Move aside or be consumed with the rest. Santos's response was calm, almost conversational. You know, on Earth we have creatures called army ants. Individually they are tiny, insignificant. But when they work together they can devour anything in their path. They strip entire forests bare. The funny thing is, we learn to deal with them not through strength but through understanding their nature and using it against them. The metaphor was lost on Sovereign Cracks. Enough meaningless chatter. All ships advance. Destroy the human vessel first, then take the station. Captain Santos spoke quickly to Vilex. Commander, activate the mining lasers now. Target the marked asteroids. Vilex gave the order, though she did not understand the strategy. Dozens of mining lasers fired simultaneously, not at the Devourer ships but at specific asteroids throughout the field. The powerful beams began carving into the rock, creating deep grooves and fractures. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Rising accelerated toward the Devourer fleet, seeming to commit suicide. Then space itself seemed to twist. Multiple hyperspace signatures appeared simultaneously around the battlefield. Vilex's scanner erupted with new contacts as ship after ship dropped from faster-than-light travel. 20, 40, 60 vessels materialized in precise formation. But these were not warships. They were human cargo haulers, mining vessels, scientific explorers, and even private yachts. Civilian ships, all of them. Yet they moved with military precision. A new voice echoed across all channels, broadcasting from what appeared to be a retrofitted passenger liner. This is Admiral Chen of the Emergency Earth Response Fleet. Sovereign Cracks, you are now surrounded by 117 human vessels. You may notice we are not traditional warships. That is because every human ship is equipped for survival on trade routes near our death world. We do not need military designations to be dangerous. The mining lasers continued their work, and suddenly Vilex understood. The humans were not trying to destroy the asteroids. They were creating a trap. The laser cuts had destabilized dozens of massive rocks, turning them into potential projectiles. The gravitational collectors, normally used to gather ore, were positioned to manipulate the trajectory of these modified asteroids. Sovereign Cracks' voice carried less certainty now. Your civilian ships cannot match our firepower. This is deception, not strength. Admiral Chen's response was immediate. Phoenix Rising, execute Aurora Protocol. The human cargo ship, which had seemed to be fleeing toward the Devourer fleet, suddenly released its cargo holds. Thousands of mining charges, typically used to break apart asteroids, scattered into space like deadly seeds. They were not powerful enough to damage shielded warships directly. But they were not aimed at the ships. The charges detonated simultaneously among the already weakened asteroids. The explosions, combined with the gravitational manipulation from the mining equipment, sent massive rocks hurtling toward the Devourer formation at incredible speeds. The enemy fleet, configured for battle against energy weapons and missiles, found themselves facing a primitive but overwhelming assault. Kinetic bombardment, the oldest form of warfare executed with mining equipment and cargo ship ingenuity. 3 Devourer vessels took direct hits from apartment-sized asteroids. Their shields, designed for energy absorption, crumpled under the pure kinetic impact. The ship spun away, venting atmosphere and debris. The perfect formation dissolved as vessels maneuvered desperately to avoid the stone storm. Captain Santos spoke again, her voice carrying across the chaos. Sovereign Cracks, this is what humans do. We take whatever tools we have and turn them into solutions. We survived on a world that tried to kill us with everything from supervolcanoes to ice ages. You think your fleet is frightening? We grew up with hurricanes that could level cities and earthquakes that could swallow mountains. You are just another Tuesday to us. The battle had only just begun, but already the galaxy was learning something crucial about humanity. They did not need purpose-built weapons to be dangerous. Their entire civilization was built on the principle of creative survival. And when they chose to protect something, they would use every single resource at their disposal, no matter how unconventional, to keep their word. Commander Vilex watched the chaos unfolding on her scanner and realized the truth. The humans had not brought warships because they did not think in terms of military or civilian. Every human vessel was built to survive their Deathworld's influence, which meant every human vessel was inherently dangerous. The galaxy had made a terrible miscalculation about Earth's children. They had assumed that because humans were new to space, they would be weak. They had not considered that humans had spent their entire evolution turning weakness into strength, disadvantage into opportunity. Now the Devourers were learning that lesson the hard way, dodging asteroids while being harassed by repurposed mining equipment and cargo vessels that fought like they had nothing to lose. The battle for celestial harvest had become something more. It was the moment the galaxy discovered that humans did not just come from a death world, they had conquered it. And they were willing to share that strength with anyone who needed protection. The legend born in fire. The Devourer fleet reeled from the asteroid bombardment, their formation shattered like glass against stone. Sovereign Krax watched his tactical display in disbelief as human vessels moved through space with suicidal confidence, using maneuvers that would kill most species from the gravitational forces alone. These Deathworlders piloted their ships like they were extensions of their own bodies, diving through debris fields that should have been impossible to navigate. Reform battle lines. Target the human command ship. Krax's orders echoed through his fleet, but executing them proved nearly impossible. Every time his vessels tried to regroup, another wave of modified asteroids would force them to scatter. The humans had turned the entire battlefield into a weapon. Captain Maria Santos guided the Phoenix rising through the chaos with practiced ease. Her crew worked in perfect synchronization, demonstrating the teamwork that had allowed humanity to survive everything Earth threw at them. Her navigation officer, James Park, called out trajectory updates while the engineering team led by Sophia Reeves pushed their engines beyond safe limits. Captain, the Devourers are trying to break through to the station. 3 vessels are making a run at Vector 779. Maria smiled grimly. They still thought in traditional combat terms, looking for weak points in a defensive line. They had not realized yet that humans did not fight with lines. They fought with webs. Activate magnetic pulse. Let us show them why humans learn to fight in 3 dimensions. The Phoenix Rising released a powerful electromagnetic pulse, not strong enough to damage shielded ships but perfectly calibrated to interact with the metallic debris floating everywhere from the asteroid impacts. Suddenly, thousands of metal fragments became magnetic projectiles, drawn to the Devourer ship's own electromagnetic signatures. The 3 vessels trying to reach the station found themselves in a storm of small impacts, their shields flickering under the constant barrage. On the station, Commander Vilex coordinated with the human fleet, providing sensor data and mining equipment support. She watched medical shuttles from various human ships already moving to assist damaged vessels, both human and Devourer. It made no sense to her tactical training. Why save enemies who were trying to kill you moments before? Her answer came from Dr. Kenji Yamamoto, commanding the medical vessel Mercy's Hand. Commander, we are detecting life signs on that damaged Devourer destroyer, requesting permission to begin rescue operations. They are enemies, Doctor. They came here to enslave us all, yes they did, and we are stopping them. But once someone is wounded and helpless, they are not an enemy anymore. They are a patient. That is how humans think. We will fight anyone who threatens the innocent, but we will also save anyone who needs saving. That is what makes us different from them. The battle raged for another hour, though its outcome had been decided the moment the humans arrived. The Devourers had superior firepower, but the humans had superior creativity. Every tactical advantage the Devourers tried to exploit became a trap. When they grouped together for concentrated fire, the humans used gravitational manipulation to send asteroids into their midst. When they spread out to avoid the rocks, human vessels swarmed them individually, using mining lasers and cargo handling equipment in ways that defied conventional military doctrine. Admiral Chen coordinated the human response from her converted passenger liner, the Resilient Hope. She had been leading a convoy of colonists to a new world when the distress call came through. Without hesitation, every human vessel in the convoy had voted to respond. Miners, traders, scientists, colonists, all united by the simple principle that had defined humanity since they first looked up at the stars. We help those who need it. Sovereign Krax, this is your final warning. Surrender now, or we will be forced to escalate. You have seen what we can do with mining equipment and cargo haulers. Do you really want to see what happens when we stop being creative and start being serious? Krax examined his tactical situation. Half his fleet was damaged or disabled. Human vessels had rescued his wounded crew even while fighting continued, treating them with the same care they showed their own people. It was incomprehensible to his worldview, this mixing of mercy and violence, compassion and determination. You fight without honor, using tricks and deception instead of strength. Admiral Chen's response was patient, almost educational. Honor is a luxury for those who fight from positions of strength, Sovereign. We humans learned long ago that survival requires adaptation. We honor our promises, protect the innocent, and help those in need. Everything else is negotiable. Your concept of honorable combat assumes equal forces and agreed-upon rules. We had no such luxury on Earth. We fought diseases that could not be seen, disasters that could not be prevented, and predators that were stronger, faster, and better armed than us. We won by being smarter, more cooperative, and infinitely more stubborn than anything trying to kill us. The Phoenix Rising had positioned itself directly between the station and Krax's flagship. Captain Santos opened a private channel to the Sovereign. I am going to tell you something about humans that might help you understand. We evolved on a world where everything was trying to kill us, yes, but we also evolved on a world of incredible beauty. We have seen sunsets that would make you weep, forests that sing with life, oceans that stretch beyond horizons. We learned that the same planet trying to kill us was also worth protecting. That duality is in everything we do. We can destroy, but we prefer to build. We can kill, but we prefer to heal. We will fight, but we would rather be friends. She paused, letting her words sink in. You came here to take what was not yours, to enslave people who had done nothing to you. We cannot allow that. But if you surrender, if you choose to be better, we will help you. That is also what humans do. We believe in redemption, in second chances, because our entire species is a story of second chances. The bridge of Krax's flagship fell silent. His officers waited for orders, but the Sovereign found himself considering something he had never contemplated before. The humans had defeated him not through superior firepower, but through superior cooperation. Every human vessel had responded to the distress call, not because they were ordered to, but because they chose to. They fought not for conquest, but for protection. They showed mercy not from weakness, but from strength. All Devourer vessels stand down, power down weapons, and surrender to the human fleet. The words tasted strange in his mouth, but as he spoke them, Krax felt something he had not experienced in cycles of conquest. Relief. The burden of constant aggression, the endless hunger for more, suddenly seemed pointless in the face of these beings who had turned survival into an art form and protection into a principle. Across the battlefield, weapons powered down, human vessels immediately moved to assist damaged Devourer ships, providing medical aid and emergency repairs. The transition from combat to rescue happened so smoothly it seemed choreographed, but Vilex recognized it for what it was: instinct. These humans had evolved to fight when necessary and help when possible, sometimes doing both simultaneously. Dr. Yamamoto's medical teams worked tirelessly, treating Devourer wounded with the same professionalism they showed to humans and Zephyrins. When a Devourer warrior asked why he was saving enemies, Yamamoto's response was simple. On Earth, we have earthquakes that do not care about national borders, hurricanes that do not check political affiliation, and diseases that affect everyone equally. We learned that the enemy of life is death, not each other. Today you are our opponents. Tomorrow you might be our allies. Either way, today you are our patients. Commander Vilex met Captain Santos when she finally boarded the station. The human was smaller than expected, bipedal with forward-facing eyes that marked her species as predators. But those predator eyes held warmth and kindness that transcended species barriers. You saved us all. 8,000 lives, including 2,000 younglings. We owe you a debt that cannot be repaid. Maria smiled, the expression strange on her flat face but somehow universal in its meaning. No debt exists between friends, Commander. We helped because we could. Because it was right. That is payment enough, but your people risked everything. Some of your ships were damaged, your crews injured. And all of them would do it again tomorrow. You want to know the secret of humanity, Commander? We are all survivors of a world that tried to kill us every single day. But we survived together. That shared experience, that knowledge that we all faced the same dangers and overcame them through cooperation, it bonds us. When we heard your distress call, we did not hear aliens asking for help. We heard people in trouble, and humans always answer that call. The aftermath of the battle spread through the galaxy like wildfire. The Devourer fleet, undefeated for 43 systems, had surrendered to a collection of human civilian vessels. Not through military might, but through creative problem-solving and unprecedented cooperation. The images of human medics treating Devourer wounded, of cargo ships standing firm against warships, of an entire species responding to strangers in need, challenged every assumption about power and civilization. 3 days later, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Ambassador Chen, promoted from admiral after her actions at Celestial Harvest, stood before representatives of 47 species. Many looked at her with fear, others with curiosity, and a few with something approaching hope. The human intervention at Celestial Harvest has demonstrated capabilities we did not anticipate. A species barely 3 cycles into space travel defeated one of our most feared threats using mining equipment and cargo vessels. The High Arbiter's synthesized voice conveyed confusion and concern in equal measure. We must understand, are humans a threat to galactic stability? Chen stood calmly before the assembly, her voice carrying the same quiet confidence that had echoed across the battlefield. Respected members of the Council, I understand your concerns. Humans are dangerous. We come from a world that forced us to be dangerous to survive, but we chose to use that danger to protect rather than conquer. We answered a distress call that everyone else ignored. We risked our lives for strangers because that is what we do. We are dangerous to those who threaten the innocent. We are deadly to those who prey on the weak, but to those who need help, who call out in their darkest hour, we are something else entirely. We are hope. She paused, looking around the chamber at the various species assembled. Earth taught us that survival alone is not enough. We must help others survive too. That is why we answered the call at Celestial Harvest. That is why we will answer the next call, and the one after that. Because in the vast darkness of space, we all need someone willing to stand between us and the void. Humanity volunteers for that duty. The Council voted that day to establish formal relations with Earth, not out of fear, but out of recognition. The humans had shown them something remarkable: strength without cruelty, power without oppression, and courage without conquest. The Deathworlders had become protectors, and the galaxy would never be the same. In the weeks that followed, distress calls across the galaxy received a new response. Where once there had been silence or rejection, now came a simple message that brought hope to the desperate. Human vessels responding. Hold on, we are coming. The legend of Celestial Harvest spread throughout known space, told in different languages but carrying the same message. When the monsters came, when hope faded, when everyone else ran, the Deathworlders answered the call. Not because they had to, but because they could. Not with warships and weapons, but with cargo haulers and mining equipment, and the absolute determination that had allowed them to survive their impossible world. And in the darkest corners of space, where predators lurked and the innocent suffered, a new truth emerged. The humans were watching. The Deathworlders were listening, and when someone called for help, they would answer. They would always answer, because that is what humans do. They survive, they adapt, they protect, and they endure. They turn weakness into strength, fear into courage, and strangers into family. They are the children of a death world who chose to become guardians of life itself. The galaxy had learned to fear many things over the eons. Now it learned to fear those who would harm the innocent, because the humans would come for them. The Deathworlders would answer the call, and when they did, they would bring with them all the creative fury of a species that had conquered death itself, and chosen to share that victory with anyone who needed it. The legend was born in fire, and forged in compassion, and it had only just begun.